Okay, so I promised I would show a video about the integrated cost leadership strategy. Now, I've actually been trying to be the cost leader for the last couple of rounds, and I did accomplish that on the camera. As you see, I've got the lowest cost for my camera, $125.70. And on the drone, I actually got outload. Somebody else had a lower cost than me at $692.80. Still, my costs are okay, but they're not the lowest in the industry. Taking a look at comparative competitive efforts, I'm coming in with a four-star product, and Company D is coming in with a four-star product on the camera, and Company D is also doing a four-star product on the drone. So what I plan to do is shift my strategy just a little bit to try to gain market share. I'm doing okay on market share with 11.9%, doing okay with 15% market share. Those numbers are good. This is just North America. Remember that you can change and look at different geographic regions, right? You can look at all four of your geographic regions, doing really great in Asia on the drone and Latin America on the drone. I've got great market share, but I'm going to go up market just a little bit because I don't want to compete head to head with my company, with my closest competitor, which is Company D. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of making a four-star product, I'm going to try to get my cost a little bit low, or keep my cost about the same while making a 4.2 star product. So initially my costs are $123.32. I'm going to put just a little bit more into these company specific product enhancements. So that takes me to a 4.2, $125.48. On the drone, I'm going to do maybe just a little minor upgrade. That takes me to 4.3. Let's see if I can do anything else that takes me up to a 4.2. Yep, going a few more minutes, okay, on my battery pack takes me to a 4.2 star, all right? So I'm still in minimize my R&D. So I'm going to cut that to zero. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do, but I'm really playing a cost game while trying to keep my costs the lowest in the industry, but I want to not compete head to head with the company. So I'm going to come over next to camera and drone marketing. What I have to do if I'm running the integrated cost leadership strategy is I have to provide superior value. Remember that our customers can define value as the relationship between price and PQ, and our industry overview will show us that. Okay, so the average price in the industry, 268. You get that number either up here or you get it up here. The PQ rating is 4.9 stars. Okay, so if I take my calculator and I'm going to, I'll just do this on my phone so y'all can see it. Okay, it is okay to use your phone sometimes. So I'm going to do 268 divided by 4.9 stars. Okay, that tells me that the average value in the industry, sorry, you can't see that, trust me, is $54.69. If I multiply that times 4.2 stars, that should tell me what my average selling price should be, which is $230. Okay, so that's the selling price I'm going to put in for my camera across all four markets. Okay, so that means my price is going to go up just a little bit. All right, I want to look at the effects of the exchange rate adjustment. In North America, I'm losing $3.59 for every camera that I sell. So I'm going to drop my price by $4. In Europe, Africa, I'm gaining $8.47. So I'm going to raise my price by $8. Or I'm sorry, I'm doing this backwards. 230 at 230, I need to raise my price by $4, not lower my price by $4. Then in Europe, Africa, I'm sorry, I lower my price by $8. See how easy it is to get confused? Okay. In Asia Pacific, I've got a $2.82 impact. That's positive, so I lower my price by $3. And in Latin America, I can lower my price by $7. And you see how that evens out my net revenues. They're plus or minus 30 cents from 227 bucks. My market share is still really good. Okay. And my net revenues and my operating profits are still really good. Okay. I probably want to take a look at the number of stores that I have and my marketing expenditures. Okay. I've been pricing or putting in my advertising budget and my website displays based on how many stores I have. So I'm going to continue that trend. And I don't care what metric you use, just as long as you use a metric, right? But my spending is increasing incrementally, right? The industry average for sales promotions is 2 weeks at 13.4% or 12.4% there. Okay, so I'm going to leave mine at 4 weeks and 17%. And the industry average for retailer support is about $7. So I'm going to increase that to about $7 per unit. Okay, so there we go. I'm just getting close to 7. You get the idea. Okay. All right. So now I've changed all my marketing variables. My market share is up, as should be expected. If I go to compensation and facilities, wow, I need 76 additional workstations. So I have a choice here. I can either do a major expansion on my factory and really pay the market share game, or I can decrease some of my marketing variables or shift my marketing mix. I think what I'm actually going to do is a combination of those two things, right? Now, this shows that we're going to have stock outs, and we definitely don't want to have stock outs. So the first thing that I'll do is I'm going to increase wages because I want to get more productivity from my workers. So I give them an additional 1% raise. I'm going to increase their attendance bonus. I'm doing this incrementally. Remember, if I do it in one factory, it's best practice to do it in both. Okay, so I'm increasing my fringes incrementally, and I'm going to increase my best practices and productivity training. Okay, so I've reduced the number of workstations that I need. Let me go ahead and take a look at camera marketing again. So my retailer support budget did indeed come in at about $7. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do to help curtail a little bit of demand. I'm going to increase price across the board by $10. Okay. So remember, my target price, I wanted it to be $230. My target price here is actually a little bit more because I'm going to a place in the market where I've got uncontested market share. Now, because I raised my price, demand is down, which means I can lower my projected retailer support spend per unit. I'm going to keep all of the other marketing variables the same. Okay, now I need 40 additional workstations. Remember, I started with 76. Well, 40 sounds reasonable. So I'm going to do 40 spaces and 40 workstations. Okay. And now, in order to avoid overtime, I only need one additional workstation. I'm pretty satisfied with that. Okay. If my demand doesn't come in where I expect it to, I'm probably going to be overbuilt in my factory, but I'm making a play for market share. Okay. So for the drone, I've got decent market share, right? I've got really good market share, but I'm going to shift my product from a 4-star up to a 4.2 star. And I need to look at the industry to see where to price my drone. $13.93 is the average selling price, and 5 stars is the drone. So I'll do the calculation on that. $13.93 divided by 5. Then I multiply that times 4.2 to get my selling price. My average selling price should be $11.70. Okay. And I'm going to also take a look at my marketing variables. I don't like the fact that I lost stores in Europe, Africa, and Asia Pacific. Those are bad outcomes. And I was spending a lot of money on marketing in those markets. I don't really understand why I lost stores. Let me look at comparative competitive efforts. I'm company I, recall, and my retailer recruitment budget was below average, and my warranty period was a little bit below average. Everything else was above average. So I need to put a little more money into retailer recruitment if I'm going to continue to have good stores, good number of stores. I'm going to put that at $100 per unit. If you wonder what I'm doing to increase that incrementally, I'm using my up arrow. Every time I press the up arrow, it increases my spend by $100,000. Okay. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. Let's see. I'm going to keep my marketing spend where it was for everywhere except Latin America, because I actually gained stores in Latin America. I want to continue pouring money into that. And I don't want to decrease my spend in Europe and Asia. So I'm going to keep the amount that I had budgeted there, which was 4.4 million and 4 million respectively. Okay. Taking a look at compensation and facilities, that shows that I need 15 additional workstations after all is said and done. Go back to drone marketing. I have not adjusted my price for exchange rates. Okay, so in North America, I need to raise my price by $19. That'll be $11.89. Europe, Africa, I lower my price by $43. That'll be $11.36. I can lower my price in Asia by $15. That'll be $11.55. And in Latin America, lower it by $35. That'll be $11.35. Okay. My net revenues, they're pretty close to one another. They're all plus or minus 1170. It looks like I didn't do my math correctly in Europe, Africa. Oops. I need that. Here's a tip. If you use your up or down arrow on price, it's going to increase by $100 or decrease by $100. So let me put that at 1128. Okay. Look at compensation and facilities. I'm up to 20 additional workstations needed. I had intended to have an average selling price of 1170. With those price changes, let me see what my average price is. I had intended 1170. I'm adding up all of my average selling prices and divide it by 4. Okay, so my average selling price is actually 1152.50 based on the old calculator here. So I'm going to increase my prices across the board by $17. 1189 plus 17 will be 1206. Will be 1145, 1172, and 1152. All I did there was get my average selling price where I wanted it to be, which is to 1170. So for compensation and facilities now, it shows I need 12 additional workstations. I'm only going to do 10. Okay, so I do 10 and 10. And I'm satisfied with working a little bit of overtime in that facility to meet demand. The last thing that I need to do if I'm running the integrated cost leadership strategy is to take a look at my finance and cash flow. All right, I can get new money at 5.9%. My old money is at 5.5%. So I don't want to refinance that debt. My dividend last year was 84 cents. My dividend payout ratio last year for company I was 35%. The industry average was 14%. I'm going to do a 30% dividend, okay, on finance and cash flow. 30% of, let's just say roughly $5 will be $1.50. I'm going to buy back all of the stock that I can, because remember, we have a preference for other people's money. That's the bank's money over our own money. and it looks like I need to borrow about 50 million bucks. That'll get me back into positive territory. My debt to equity still looks pretty good. My current ratio is good. My coverage ratio is good. I'm at 502 per share. My return on equity, 65.9%, a B plus credit rating. Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with that. Going back to product design, my costs come in at 125.14 and 688.32. So I'm not going to be the cost leader probably on the drone again, even though I've got so much market share. My costs probably are still going to be a little bit high, but I'm okay with them being a little bit high because my camera and my drone are a little bit above the bottom of the market. Okay. So that's my plan. I've got my decision saved. And I know this is another long video, but I just think it's easier when we're doing these holistic integrated strategies. I think it's easier to do one video. So this is Integrated Cost Leadership. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.